We're back in this kind of atmosphere. I'm still trying to figure out how it's going to work in here. I'm not too sure. Ooh, I forgot something over here. I need a filter. Today is going to be this coffee, Gucci. Now, I already talked about it on stream. I streamed this morning, 5 a.m. Pacific time over on twitch.tv/JDXCoffee. Someone said, I miss the old setup. And you know what, I'll be honest with you, I do too. And so I figured, why not attempt to bring the old setup back? I think that this area works for the most part. We have the coffee behind me, the grinder behind me, and we'll do all of the prep work right here. The talk of the town, not the talk of the town, the conversation I want to have today is a lot less about coffee and more about experiences. You see, these past few days, I have been playing a game called Path of Exile. And I talked briefly about it yesterday, but what it really opened my mind up to was this idea of games I normally wouldn't play. And it started to have me question things like, are my preferences ones that I would have changed if it wasn't for the PC? And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that I would have. I mean, I think that the PC itself was something that really opened my eyes up to this new type of gaming that I now am very, very much so a part of. And this PC gaming as a whole has become something that I have not just fully embraced, but now I'm trying to find games that are going to genuinely support, or not support, but genuinely push the boundaries of what I've grown to either love or my comfort zone. Let's grind. It's gonna be a lot louder because I'm using the mic up here now. So I'm gonna. Now, as time has gone on, I have started to look into a lot of different titles. I will say that starting to play on PC has been a great deal of fun. The games that I've been able to play so far have been awesome. I've played games like World of Warcraft. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, games that were already or would have already been available to me. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, I guess I didn't have an Xbox, so I got rid of that. I would have been able to play it till sometime next year when all of the bugs and optimization was kind of put in place and then given us that over on PlayStation. Why? Okay, so side note, why are people mad that that game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, is coming to PlayStation? Are people mad because they're like, well, then why do I own an Xbox? I thought it was a really weird thing that people were saying. They're like, why do I own an Xbox if I can just play stuff on PlayStation? Is that them saying that PlayStation is better? Is that them saying that the PlayStation hardware is better hardware? The people complaining that games are going over to PlayStation, is it because they feel cheated that they had to buy lesser hardware to play these games? That's the question I have. It's like, why would it matter if it's going over to PlayStation if you're an Xbox fan? Because if you're an Xbox fan, you would just play it on Xbox? Like, do you see what I'm saying here? Like, it seems kind of weird. But it doesn't matter because I'm not playing on PlayStation or Xbox. I'm playing games on the PC. And starting with the Steam Deck being an incredible, incredible machine, there was a conversation happening over on Twitch yesterday, or it wasn't in my chat. It was over in another wonderful streamer, the Real Palmers. He was streaming Path of Exile, and there's another one of our awesome community members, Sai. He was talking about how he's going to get into PC gaming. And he's like, I just can't wait to get a PC. And I was like, dude, you know what? Now, he has to get it for school because he's a youngster. He's a student. But I was like, why get a PC when you can get like Asus ROG Ally X? And I started thinking about it more. And I'm like, I think that I have fully transitioned out of console gaming, not because there's anything wrong with console gaming, but the flexibility available with something like a Steam Deck and a PC combo has really started to become a requirement. And playing games like Path of Exile 2, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, 2 games that don't run well on the Steam Deck, I am very thankful that I have access to those games on the PC. Not just that, but then opening it up and playing games like Balatro or what other games am I playing on the Steam Deck? I'm playing, some of the Final Fantasy, stuff like that. This combination, this feel, this PC gaming thing is so much less aggressive than what I originally anticipated. And I just want to actually talk into that. The fact that the whole PC gaming stigma that I once believed, that I once was actually perpetuating, is a fallacy here in 2024 going into 2025. If you're thinking about, oh, should I do console or PC? If you have nothing, well, first thing you need to do is figure out what your budget is. Because for a lot of people, budget is going to dictate what you're going to be able to get yourself into. Because if you're going to get into the highest version of PlayStation gaming, it's going to cost you $700 or upwards of $800. If you're going to go full in on PlayStation and you're also going to get like the PlayStation Portal, then you're going to spend upwards of $1,000. If you're going to get their Pro controller and get the whole thing, you're going to go PlayStation Pro, you're going to go disc drive, you're going to get the PlayStation Portal, and you're going to get their Pro style controller, the DualSense Edge. You're spending $1,200, right? So that's the PlayStation route for the best PlayStation situation that you can buy. And if you want to get a stand on top of that, we're going $1,250. Okay, so that's PlayStation. Xbox, on the other hand, if you're going to go Xbox, you're just going to get an Xbox Series X. Now, if you want to go the full 2 terabyte, you're spending $600. Let's go maxed out. Xbox Series X, that. You're going to go with their controller, another $179. $780, so about $800. So we're going $1,250 for PlayStation's route with all their fixins, which is a better visual experience. It's going to be a more powerful experience, and we've learned that first-party titles will eventually come over to PlayStation, so you're not going to miss out on all those exclusives, so to speak. But then we have stuff like Game Pass, and Game Pass is getting games like the Call of Duty franchise, all of the Call of Duties that seems to be coming over to Game Pass, so that could be something in Xbox's favor. We're going 3 green. Heads up, it's my second full cup of Gucci. I'm not drinking this cup of Gucci. I'm going to have this much just to see if the ratio and the recipe is better, because the recipe on stream today seemed a little light. I increased it. I went 30 grams. So we're going to go this, and then after I'm going to give the rest to my wife because she more than deserves this. Oh, I lost my visual, so we're going to move the mouse and I have my visual back. This is awesome. This is awesome. Let me know if you like the standing or the seated over here. I'm not going to lie. This feels more where it needs to be. It looks nice. I'm looking at a monitor. I got everything. This feels really, really good. So back to the console PC thing. What the PC always, the first thing that held me back from PC, which it should have been how much it costs, but it was more how much I thought it was going to affect my day-to-day gaming. I thought it was going to be complicated. I thought it was going to be frustrating. I thought it was going to be something that was more cumbersome than it was useful. And so the first thing was that. And I believed that because my experience up until this point was just that. All of my PC gaming was something that I felt was more cumbersome. I had tried it on the Asus ROG, was it ROG G14? Right? I've tried it already on a gaming laptop and the fans would blow. It would be awful. I was like, this is not so fun. I've tried it with a mini PC. I'm like, this isn't good, but I never tried it fully with a top of the line or close to it. My PC isn't the best of the best, but it certainly is up there. I have the next step down from the highest end graphics card, and I also have a relatively high-end CPU. I have some good internal storage that's solid state, so SSDs, and my RAM is low, but I can upgrade that very easily. The PC itself is a behemoth. I don't have trouble with settings because all I do is turn on a game and they're already maxed out. I don't have trouble with frame rates because all I do is turn on the game and it's already maxed out. And I certainly don't have trouble with visuals. In fact, I got 2 monitors sent over to me by Titan Army, and they were probably good monitors, but I was on the phone with Ethan about it, and I was like, dude, they sent me 2 monitors, 2 1440p, okay? 240 hertz monitors, 32 inch, like a great setup. And he goes, yeah, so what's wrong? I'm like, well, my main my main monitor is a 43 inch LG C2, which is an OLED display outputting with HDMI 2.1 to my graphics card a 120 frame refresh rate, right? And he's like, well, 240 is more than 120. I'm like, it certainly is. I don't know if that 240 is going to be a better gaming experience than 120, but I don't play FPSs, or first-person shooters. I don't play those, so I don't think it would matter. And he goes, yeah, I guess. And I was like, yeah, it's not as good. And then I was talking just off the cuff because I have two monitors. I have my main monitor and I have my secondary. And I was like, yeah, oh crap, there's something wrong with this monitor. I mean, the colors are so bright. I don't know if it's just because it's mini LED. He goes, wait. Rewind. You have an LG C2. So you have an OLED monitor, an OLED TV in front of you. That's 4K. Yeah, I do. And you have a 4K mini LED monitor to the right of you. That's 27 inches. Yeah. He's like, there's no way you're going to be satisfied with a 1440p monitor that is less than OLED at least. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, this is something I never really understood. It was the fact that when it comes to PC gaming, I always thought that there was going to be an inferior experience because of stuff like settings and tweaking this and loading in that, and the other. And while the top of the line PlayStation 5 and the top of the line Xbox Series X, and if you want to throw in a Nintendo Switch in there as well, top of the line being $350, we're talking about, and with their Pro controller, so let's say $60, we're talking about $410 for the full Nintendo Switch. We're talking about PlayStation's whole thing, which is not $1,200, $1,600, and we're talking about a $700 option here for the Xbox with their Pro controller, the whole 9 yards, the big beefy stuff, and there you go at $2,300. $2,300 for all the consoles, top of the line, their controllers, their whole business. Now we have to talk about their online services costing an extra $400 for all of them. So we're at $2,700 now. It still is only a few $100s more than my PC, being $2,300. This is where I mostly looked into the side-by-side. First off was the experience, and I was like, yeah, the experience, I don't know PC, it's going to be hard. I was wrong. It's the price. Now, a lot of people are like, you don't need to have that beefy of a PC to have a good gaming experience with the, PC gaming. And while I would agree, here's what the beefy PC does. All right, Kuma Coffee, I hear you. The Ethiopia Guji is very tasty. I can get with that. My stomach is like, dude, you need to put something inside of me because right now you have 2 cups of coffee, almost 3 cups of coffee, and water. You need food. I do need food. I'm going to, after this, have like 15 eggs. The comparison between console and PC has started to diminish. The biggest reason why this $2,400 or $2,300 behemoth is something that I find to be necessary at that price range is because with PC I was able to turn it on, and I'm not PC, with console I was able to turn it on, get the best experience possible on that device, and I'm set. I would never have to question whether or not that device was giving me its best performance. And yes, it was inferior, but I was playing the PlayStation games the best way I could. Right? I completely was playing the games the best way I could. There was nothing else to it than that. Now, with PC, if I would have gotten an inferior machine, there would have always been that element of like, oh, I need to upgrade this, I need to change that, I can get more. No. I don't want that feeling. I don't want to be chasing down frames. I don't want that. And so the initial investment's very, very high. And this is the problem that I saw with PC, was that in order for me to pay to play, I needed to pay high. I'm coming off of MacBook Pro, right? I'm coming off of Apple products, which their top of the line stuff is usually what I would get, only because it would last me for 3 to 7 more years. I didn't want to deal with any upgrades. I didn't want to deal with the general PC thing. I didn't get into PC gaming because I wanted to become a tweaker. I got into PC gaming because I wanted to play video games better. And I can tell you that it's been over a month since I've started doing this. And the only thing that PC has done for me was introduce me to genres that I'd otherwise sworn off because I thought, these aren't fun to play. And it wasn't that they weren't fun to play, it's that my experience that I was having on console was very, very nostalgic, as well as it was something I wasn't able to see past. You see, I'd grown up in the console space. I'd grown up playing just on PlayStation and Nintendo and a little bit of Xbox, but that's all I had been playing. And because that's all I had been playing, it's all I was willing to experience. So if it wasn't a JRPG, if it wasn't a part of a franchise I already loved, and if it wasn't a game that was available to me quickly, right? I didn't have to go and find something. If it wasn't a part of the PlayStation Store, even that. Pretty much, I just stuck to games I knew. Because the experience on the controller, the experience as in the environment was very much so dictated by years of ingrained gaming. It took breaking that. It took leaving that space, which seems so odd to me. It seems super bizarre that just switching platforms opened my eyes to genres I would have never touched. I would have never touched Black Myth Wukong on a PlayStation. Not because there's anything wrong with the PlayStation, but because the PlayStation to me was a full encompassing experience, right? I would have never touched, I wouldn't have even thought of Path of Exile. I would have never, and also the PlayStation port has its compatibility issues, I suppose, with multiplayer. I would have certainly never gotten back into WoW. I wouldn't have played Indiana Jones because it wouldn't have been available to me on PlayStation, and then later down the road I may have tried it, but it wouldn't have been the same. It's just wild to me that the platform itself, the PC itself, has genuinely opened up so many avenues and interests to me, and it was simply because of the way to play. And it's not necessarily easier, but it's not harder either. That's the biggest surprise for me, is turning that sucker on and getting it going with the way that gaming is now. I want to state that as far as PC gaming is concerned, I have yet, it's been 5 weeks, I feel like I should have run into something. I mean, I've run into a couple of things, I'll explain in a second, but I have yet to experience the PC gaming is too complicated yet. And I 100% believe it's because I'm playing on a machine that is as powerful as it is. I mean, I have a 4080 Super, which only one card above that, I guess, so I've been told, is the 4090. Sure, they're going to come out with new cards, and I'll have to upgrade eventually. But as it stands now, let's go ahead and turn that sleep off. This is crushing it. It's crushing it. Now, I understand that if you've been playing PC for 6 years, you're like, oh, now I have to upgrade stuff. I'm just going to go and get a PlayStation or something. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But I will say, getting into it, the issues I've run into are so minuscule. First, compatibility between my display and my PC. Kind of annoying. I am running a TV to PC. There's some flickering here and there. I hear that happens. It's kind of annoying. Since I've updated my PC and updated some drivers for the graphics card, I haven't had the issue as much. Also, I restart my PC often, and by often I mean every 72 hours because it's good to do that, so I've been told. So there's that. That's one issue I've run into. Never had that issue with the PlayStation. Another issue I've run into is my soundboard isn't as good on the PC as it was on the Mac. This is something that I found out is a Rode issue. Rode works better with Mac. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. Another thing I ran into is not all the games through the Steam client support my DualSense controller. I prefer PlayStation controllers. That's because I like the way they feel. I like the DualSense. I think the DualSense is the best controller out there, fight me. But not all of my games support it. For instance, Dragon Quest 11S. I can't even use a PlayStation controller. I can't even force Steam to redo it, or Steam controller support? I can't even force it to like cast a skin over it and use it as an input. Maybe I can, I just don't know how. That kind of stuff is a little bit interesting. So I have to have two controllers on my desk when I'm using a controller. Xbox and PlayStation. My preference is always PlayStation, but alas, Xbox is there as well. These kinds of things are the things that I'm dealing with. These are the issues I'm dealing with. And they're so minuscule in the grand scheme of things. The productivity alone is increased, but this very device that I'm using grants me access to games in a way that I would have never, ever done before. Steam, I'm new to it. I've only been using Steam seriously since November of last year when I got the Steam Deck OLED and actually started using it more. I haven't been using Steam for that long. And so I'm not familiar with how awesome and fluid the experience is. But I can tell you from firsthand experience, this is the greatest gaming experience I have had since I first started playing the Nintendo Switch. Switching over to PC has been such a lovely experience. And for those people who are like, just wait. Wait for what? Wait for the problems to arise? Are you hoping that it's complicated? Are you frustrated that I'm not having a complicated time? Which is it? Because I think that this entrance into PC gaming has been so remarkable that I, as a 30+ year console gamer, right? Which I try to stay away from defining myself by what I do, but rather showing you what I like. But as someone who's played 30 years on consoles, I have been not just converted to PC, but I now would encourage people to start looking into it, because the difference between console and PC is starting to get less and less with the implementation of all of these different dirty magic things that I call upscaling and super resolutions, right? You can sneaky your way into a better visual image, right? It's possible. All you have to do is click a couple boxes, and it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. So the difference between the two really comes down to the price. And the price, I think, is a very, very tough thing to rationalize when we're talking between $15,000 and $2,000, right? For long-term play. Long-term. I'm talking about purchasing and not having to upgrade for 3 to 5 years. This is what I'm thinking, right? Because when you get a PlayStation, with the exception of the PS5 Pro, when you get a PlayStation or Xbox, that's kind of what happens. You don't upgrade for 3 to 5 years, right? If not longer. You're rocking the same system for a while. So I'm saying if you're going to buy a PC for gaming, maybe purchase something that has 5 years of longevity. The biggest thing is, though, you no longer have to pay for online play. So PlayStation as a whole, any game you would have played there, done. Xbox, unless you use PC Game Pass, which I hate to admit has a lot of value. Unless you use PC Game Pass, no subscriptions. This might be the purchasing power that we need as gamers. So let's just run quick numbers and then let's close it out. First, PlayStation 5 Pro, the whole thing, $1,250, and Xbox, $700. The reason why I use those numbers is because I'm assuming you get the maxed out everything. 2 terabyte internal storage on both devices, their version of the Pro controllers, the whole thing, right? The whole 9 yards. Because on the PC, all you would have to do is purchase one, and it would probably be the Xbox One, and you got your Pro controller for every single game. And by Pro, I mean like Elite controller with paddles and the whole 9. So let's just say that, okay? And let's say I did buy that Elite controller for the PC for $180. So mine is 20. Let's just say across $2,500 flat. Okay, $2,500 for my PC. Now you got yourself. Now you can get keyboards. You can go down that road, but we're not going to. $2,500 for the PC, right? And you got $1,250 and $700, $1,950 for the PlayStation and the Xbox. Okay. Online services. Let's just say nothing changes the next year, and it's $180 for both, right? Which is, I think, not correct numbers fully. I think it's more than that. I think that actually Game Pass Ultimate is $20. So let's just say it's $240 plus $180, right? 420. Let's round up. Let's round down. Let's say $400. $400. You're getting the premium version, or you know what? Let's just say you're getting online play only. Online play only, which I believe is $10 per platform. $120, $240. Okay, we have $240 times 5. Quick numbers. $1,200. You now have $1,200 of online service requirement to play your games with your friends online, and on top of that, you already have $1,900 worth of gear. If I'm doing the math correctly, that's $3,100 over the course of 5 years. PC, $2,500. Plug it into your monitors. No online purchases. Of course, of 5 years, you save $600 right out the gates. This isn't a perfect example because 605 years is not a ton, but it goes to show you that the thought behind PC is more expensive is simply in upfront costs. And this for me is something that is sobering. And I think that that's the biggest part of PC gaming that is misconstrued is the upfront cost is great, but the long-term benefits are astronomical. And as someone who would have never considered it until I was neck deep in it, I can fully not only endorse the endeavor, but also recommend at least exploring it. There's so many options out there and ways to purchase, whether you build your own, if you're that kind of person, or you go pre-build. I went with Costco because Costco sold a great deal. So there are options out there. That being said, I am converted. The only way that this would go back home is if these cup videos, my live streams over on Twitch, 5 a.m. Monday through Thursday, twitch.tv/shittyxcoffee don't take off, and I can't cover the cost of it because I did decide to buy before I actually made the cash. So that is its own thing. Lastly, I'm making my own category on Twitch and I need your help. There's a vote below. It's just upvoting it so that it goes to the top of the requests. All it requires you to do is log into your Twitch account and then hit the word vote. If you leave a comment, I think that helps. It's called Coffee and Tea category. I would like doing that. I would like to do that a lot more than the food and drink one because everyone's just doing weird things in there. All right, come join me on Twitch in the mornings. Have a good rest of your day. Let me know if you like this setup. But as always, play more and be kind. See ya.